A loved one who passed away is trying to warn you. Michael says open this immediately before it's erased forever. A voice from the other side is calling your name. In this quiet moment, something deep within your heart stirs, a feeling you can't quite name, a whisper that gently brushes your soul like the wind through autumn leaves. You may have been sensing something recently, something that made you pause, look around, and wonder if someone you love who has left this world might still be near. You might have caught a feeling, a memory, or a sudden warmth that appeared without reason. That wasn't your imagination. That was love reaching across eternity. Type Amen if you believe. This message is not just words on a page. It is a gentle tap on the shoulder from heaven itself. It is a reminder that love never dies, and those who loved you so dearly still walk beside you in spirit, still longing to protect you, to guide you, and to offer you comfort in the dark corners of your sorrow. This isn't about fear. It's about grace. It's about the hand of God moving in quiet, sacred ways to remind you that you are never alone. There is a truth that brings light even to the most broken of hearts, and it is this: in the stillness, in the hush between one heartbeat and the next, heaven leans close. There is a message for you, a message born of love and carried on the wings of angels. Your loved one, who once laughed with you, cried with you, and held your hand through the storms of life, now calls to you with a voice softened by eternity. They carry a warning, yes, but not to frighten you. Rather, to awaken you, to pull you back from the edge of things you may not even see coming. They reach not from darkness, but from the light of God's kingdom, where they now dwell in peace, praying for your safety, praying for your heart to stay soft, open, and faithful. They come not because they are worried you will fail, but because they know how strong you are, and they long to keep you from stumbling. They remember the way you held their hand when they were tired, the way you smiled even when things felt heavy, and they remember the way you never gave up. And now, it's their turn to watch over you, to walk unseen but not unfelt, wrapping you in warmth on cold nights, whispering courage when your strength wears thin. A powerful 9-word prayer once classified by secret agencies has now leaked, and it's quietly rewriting destinies. In under 30 seconds, it reprograms the mind to attract wealth and dissolve scarcity. Users are reporting surprise income, restored hope, and financial peace. But this page might be deleted at any time. Click the link now before it's taken down without warning. Sometimes, the pain of missing someone feels like it will never heal. You may carry it like a stone in your chest, quiet but always there. But God, in His mercy, does not let love vanish into nothing. He gathers it, holds it, and sends it back in small, sacred ways, through dreams, through memories, through the hush of your own heart when you least expect it. That loved one who left before you were ready. They're still close, still praying, still loving you from a place without tears or suffering, hoping you'll stay open to what they need to share. Type 1111 if you trust in God. There's a reason you're here, reading this now. It's not by chance, and it's not random. You were led to this moment for a purpose, because the whisper you've been feeling is not meant to fade away. It's meant to draw you closer to God's heart. There are things in your path that may confuse you, decisions that weigh on your spirit, and people who may not understand the journey you're on. But heaven sees. Heaven knows. And your loved one, the one whose laughter you still remember, whose voice echoes sometimes in your dreams, is stepping forward now, not to haunt you, but to heal you, to help you see the light in places where shadows have lingered too long. They have seen things now that you cannot yet see. They understand what really matters. They have walked through the veil and know the beauty of the love that never ends. And though they cannot speak in words, their message is clear: do not give up. Do not turn your heart away from the Lord. Do not fall into despair. Because there is more ahead than you can imagine, more healing, more peace, more purpose. You are not forgotten. You are deeply known and eternally loved. The sorrow you carry was never meant to become your home. It was meant to be a season. And though it hurts, your loved one does not want you to stay trapped in grief. They want you to rise. To hope again. To believe again. To love boldly again. Because you were made for joy, even in a world that sometimes breaks hearts. You were made for faith that keeps burning, even when the winds blow hard. You were made to shine. Their warning is not of doom but of wakefulness. It is a call to be alert, to not lose yourself in fear, anger, or bitterness. To step away from anything that steals your peace or dims your soul. God is nudging you through the spirit of someone you dearly miss, someone whose prayers now rise like incense before the throne of grace. Their voice may not be loud, but it is steady. It is full of love. And it is filled with the urgency of eternity. If you've been seeing signs, repeating numbers, hearing a song that means something, feeling chills for no reason, dreaming vividly, don't brush it off. These are sacred echoes, moments stitched by heaven into your daily life to help you remember that you are held in holy hands, and that this life is not all there is. There is more, so much more, and those you love are not lost. They are found. They are whole. And they are closer than you think. Let this moment be one of stillness, where you place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and breathe in peace. Let the pain rest. Let the worry lift. Let the love of God meet you here, right where you are, and remind you that even through the veil of life and death, love never stops speaking. And when it does, we must listen, not with fear, but with hope. Not with doubt, but with trust. Because God never lets anything be lost forever. And He never stops reaching for you. There are moments in life when you sense someone watching over you, not in a way that frightens you, but in a way that eases the weight you carry, like a hand placed softly on your shoulder from beyond the seen world. That is the grace that reaches from heaven toward you, a grace that your loved one now understands more deeply than any human ever could while walking this earth. Type 222 if you trust God's timing. When someone you love leaves this world, the empty space they leave behind can feel endless, and some days it may seem as though nothing can fill it. You might carry their memory like a fragile candle, shielding it from the winds of daily life with every bit of strength you have. You may wonder if they see you, if they know how much you miss them, if they understand how their absence still touches you in quiet hours. What you may not realize is that they stand closer than you think, held securely in the presence of God, yet still allowed to watch over you with a love purified by peace. They are no longer bound by the limitations of time or distance, and their heart beats with a light that has been restored, strengthened, and renewed by heaven's gentle touch. There are times when life feels heavy, and even though you try to be strong, the ache in your chest reminds you of all the moments you wish you could experience with them again. You may find yourself replaying old memories, hearing their voice in the back of your mind, or feeling suddenly overwhelmed with emotion when something reminds you of the bond you shared. These moments are not random. They are invitations from God to remember that love is eternal and that the bond you formed did not unravel when they stepped into the light of His kingdom. Instead, it grew deeper, because now it is shaped by an eternal truth that never fades. Your loved one sees the struggles you face, the choices you must make, the doubts that pull at you, and the quiet battles you fight that no one else knows about. From where they stand now, the world looks different, and they see clearly the dangers, temptations, and sorrows that may try to distract you from God's plan. Their message is not meant to frighten you, but to strengthen you, guiding you gently back toward the path that leads to peace. They want you to trust that every hardship has a purpose, every tear has meaning, and every moment of confusion can eventually lead to clarity if you keep walking with faith in your heart. What if you discovered a tiny, walnut-sized brain region holds the secret to endless wealth and success? Recently uncovered by groundbreaking research and once buried in classified files, this frequency is now available to anyone ready to listen. Imagine replacing worry and struggle with a life of financial ease and freedom. Interested? Click the link in video description and comments below to unleash this hidden brain wave and start attracting wealth right now. You have been guided to this message for a reason, and if you turn away, the chance may not return. This is your time to step in. There may have been times recently when you felt an unusual nudge, a sudden thought, or a soft inner voice urging you to slow down, reconsider something, or distance yourself from someone or something that has been draining your spirit. These quiet signals are part of the warning your loved one is trying to place gently in your heart. They want you to stay safe, to stay grounded, and to stay connected to God's love, which will never abandon you no matter how dark the night may seem. Sometimes the warning they are trying to give you comes in the form of restlessness that will not go away, or an uneasy feeling that keeps tugging at your attention, or even a moment when you sense that something is shifting around you. These signals are meant to guide you toward choices that protect your peace and nurture your spirit, choices that strengthen your connection with God, choices that lead you toward healing rather than harm. If you listen closely to these gentle hints, you will begin to understand that they come from a place of pure love, a place where fear does not exist and where wisdom flows directly from the heart of God. Your loved one wants you to remember that life continues to unfold with purpose, even when you feel lost or unsure. They want you to hold on to hope, because hope is the light that carries you forward through the shadows. They want you to keep believing that God is shaping something meaningful through your journey, even when the pieces do not seem to fit. They want you to know that every prayer you whisper is heard, every tear you cry is seen, and every longing in your heart is understood by the one who created you. There may be days when you feel as though you are walking alone, but heaven sees every step you take, and your loved one watches with eyes that now understand the depth of God's mercy. They see the blessings that are coming your way, blessings you cannot yet imagine, blessings that will soothe your spirit and remind you that God never lets sorrow be the final word. They want you to trust that something good is rising, something gentle and steady, something that will remind you why faith is worth holding on to even when the world feels uncertain. Type 555 to welcome God's peace into your heart. As you continue moving through this life, you will find moments when the presence of your loved one feels almost tangible, like a soft warmth brushing your skin or a quiet sense of comfort settling over you when you least expect it. These moments are reminders that the connection you shared is not broken, it has simply transformed into something sacred. They want you to know that every step you take toward healing honors them, and every moment you choose love instead of fear helps their message reach your heart more clearly. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. When someone we love passes into eternity, it can feel as if a part of us leaves with them. Their absence fills spaces we never noticed until they were gone, the quiet corners of a room, the echo in a familiar laugh, the way our hand searches for theirs out of habit. The sorrow can sometimes rise unexpectedly, like a tide pulled by invisible forces, crashing over us in waves too powerful to resist. But through all of it, there is something else quietly at work, something holy and real, the ongoing presence of their spirit, watching, praying, and loving us from beyond what our eyes can see. They have become part of God's greater design, part of a love so vast that even death cannot separate it. And from that place of divine peace, they are trying to guide you now. They know your heart, your struggles, your fears, and your quiet victories. They've seen the paths you walk when no one else is looking, and they know that something is pressing in on you, a pressure, a confusion, a situation you may not fully understand yet, but one that carries weight. And in love, they are sending you this warning, not to alarm you, but to gently steer you back to safety, to truth, to the steady place where God's voice can be heard clearly. They are not bound by distance or time anymore. The veil that separates this life from the next is thinner than it seems, and while they cannot return to you in the ways you may long for, they can still reach your heart. Sometimes this reaching comes in the form of a dream that stays with you for days, a sudden feeling of calm in the middle of chaos, or a voice in your spirit that feels too clear to be your own. These are not tricks of the mind. These are sacred touches, heaven brushing against earth in the quietest of ways. You may find yourself hesitating lately, second-guessing your direction, sensing that something around you feels off balance. Perhaps you've been walking down a path that seemed right at first but now fills you with an uneasiness you can't ignore. That is the moment to stop and listen, because your loved one is trying to say something important. Not everything that glitters is gold, not every door is meant to be opened, and not every voice that speaks to you comes from the heart of God. Their voice, though softened by heaven, carries a message meant to protect you. You are being called back, not away from life, but back to the truth, back to peace, back to the simple faith that once carried you when nothing else could. God works through love, always through love. And when someone who loved you here on earth is now wrapped in His eternal arms, their love does not disappear, it expands, deepens, and strengthens. That love becomes a prayer, a whisper, a signpost pointing you away from harm and toward the goodness you were always meant to live in. They are not here to relive the past with you, they are here to help you live forward, with wisdom and purpose, and to remind you that you were not created for confusion, fear, or defeat. You were made in the image of God, and inside you burns a light that no darkness can extinguish. Your loved one sees that light now more clearly than ever, and they are cheering you on, urging you to rise above the storm, to let go of what is stealing your joy, and to cling to what is real and eternal. You may not be able to feel their arms around you, but you can feel their presence when you sit still long enough to notice the warmth that fills your heart when you think of them. Type 777 to open your heart to God's message. The road ahead may not be simple, and it may not be easy, but it is not without direction. There are choices before you that may seem small today but carry the weight of great impact later. Your loved one's voice comes now to say, choose what brings peace. Choose what brings you closer to God. Walk away from what clouds your mind and confuses your heart. Walk toward what lifts your spirit and reminds you of who you are, a beloved child of God, held, seen, and protected. Even as you read this now, your spirit may be stirring. That is not coincidence. That is God's grace moving through words to reach places within you that needed reassurance. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. What you feel is not madness or wishful thinking, it is heaven's way of showing up right where you are, through the love of someone who left this world but never left your side. Trust the stirring in your soul. Let it guide you gently away from what brings fear and closer to the truth that sets you free. Type 1919 to receive miracles. This voice you feel, this warm, quiet pull in your chest, is not your imagination. It is the echo of someone who once held your hand through storms, someone who looked at you with care, someone who wanted to protect you from harm and celebrate your every joy. Even now, that love is not lost. In fact, it has grown stronger because it is now rooted in eternity. Your loved one is no longer weighed down by the burdens of this world, and with the freedom and light of heaven surrounding them, they are reaching out to warn you, not because they fear for you, but because they love you so deeply, they can't bear to see you fall into anything that could steal your peace or dim the light God placed within you. What if I told you financial freedom is not about working harder, but activating a dormant brain signal designed to draw abundance directly to you? Neuroscience proves this sound wave unlocks prosperity faster than any method known before. From unexpected cash to life-changing success, it's already helping thousands. Imagine looking back tomorrow wishing you had acted today. Do not let regret replace the miracle that is calling you right now. Click the link in the video description and comments below to turn on the ancient money wave and create the life you've always dreamed of today. There may be something in your life right now that you've been questioning, something that doesn't feel quite right. It could be a relationship that's slowly draining your joy, a decision you're unsure of, or a habit that's leading you further away from the person you were created to be. Your loved one sees this from where they are now, and in their clarity, they know that now is the moment for you to listen more closely, not just to them, but to the voice of God who is using their spirit to guide you. They are not trying to change your path, they are trying to protect it. They are calling to you with all the gentleness that once sat in their hands when they embraced you, with all the warmth that lived in their smile. There's something powerful about knowing that love like theirs doesn't end. It transforms. It becomes part of the great love story God is writing in your life. You may not hear them speak with words, but their love shows up in the way your heart calms when you think of them, or the peace that floods you when you remember a moment that made you feel safe. Those are not just memories. They are gentle touches from heaven, reminders that their soul is still alive, still watching, still helping you in ways beyond what we understand in this world. Sometimes, warnings from the ones who have passed come as a soft knowing, a nudge to slow down, to take a breath, to pause before moving forward. You might feel suddenly hesitant about something you once felt sure of, or feel drawn to spend time alone in prayer, seeking clarity. These are not accidents. They are signs. Your loved one sees what you cannot, and because they love you so deeply, they are doing all they can to help you avoid the traps and shadows that may lie ahead. They are not angry or afraid, they are hopeful, protective, and filled with a light that only heaven can give. You might be tempted to ignore these signs, to push them aside and tell yourself it's just your imagination. But deep down, you know there's more. You know that some part of your spirit recognizes these moments as sacred. They are not to be feared, but honored. Your loved one isn't here to cause you confusion. They're here to remind you that God's protection sometimes arrives through love that continues after death, love that refuses to let go, love that has seen the fullness of truth and comes back to share it with you, softly, with care. There may be a place in your life right now where healing is needed, where a wound has been left open for too long. Perhaps it's something you haven't fully grieved, or a pain you've buried deep because it hurt too much to look at. Your loved one sees that, too. They see the way you carry it silently, hoping it will fade on its own. But they want you to know that healing doesn't come from ignoring your pain. It comes from placing it in God's hands, letting His love wrap around it like sunlight on frost, slowly melting away what was once frozen in sorrow. They want you to take care of your soul. To rest when you need rest. To stop pushing yourself past the edge of what your heart can hold. To trust that slowing down, choosing peace, and stepping away from what hurts you is not weakness, it is wisdom. And they have learned this wisdom now, not through suffering, but through the beautiful truth that peace is God's constant gift, always waiting for you, always ready to pour itself into your life if you will open the door. Type yes to affirm. The message you are receiving is not one of fear. It is one of awakening. A call to return to what matters. A call to let go of what no longer serves your spirit. A call to listen more deeply to the gentle voice of God, who never stopped speaking to you, even when your world went quiet with grief. This warning from your loved one is sacred. It is a part of God's grace at work, using their love as a vessel to remind you that you are still on a journey, still called to shine, still held in the great and everlasting love of your Creator. If you felt lost, unsure, or overwhelmed lately, let this be your sign that you are being guided back to still waters. You are not meant to wander without direction. The voice from the other side calling your name is not trying to pull you backward, but forward, into clarity, into healing, into the kind of peace that only heaven understands. You are being surrounded by love, by prayer, and by the gentle protection of someone who now knows just how real and powerful God's love truly is. Type 666 if you trust Jesus. There is a message being spoken to your soul in ways that cannot be heard with ears. It is the quiet nudge when you feel like giving up, the unexpected comfort that finds you when you didn't even know how much you needed it, the dream that lingers longer than usual, almost like a conversation left unfinished. This isn't coincidence. It's compassion. It's love, reaching from eternity, asking you to listen not just with your mind but with your spirit. Your loved one, resting now in the peace of God's presence, is calling your name, not to frighten you, but to remind you that you are seen, known, and protected. The days may feel long, and the nights even longer, but in each moment, you are never truly alone. You are surrounded by the prayers of heaven, by the watchful eyes of angels, and by the love of one who now understands the full truth of God's goodness. They see you trying, even when no one else does. They see you being strong in the quiet, choosing kindness when it's hard, holding on to hope with hands that feel tired. And they are so proud of you. An ancient 9-word code, once reserved for high-level insiders, has been uncovered. It's simple, quick, and shockingly effective at drawing money and blessings into your life. Neuroscientists confirm it stimulates the brain's receiving center, an area dormant in most people. People everywhere are calling it the 30-second miracle. Click the link in the description and comments before the authorities remove it again. But they also see where you're hurting, where your spirit has dimmed, where your heart feels unsure. There's something around you, something shifting, and perhaps you've been sensing that too. Maybe you've felt unsettled or confused by decisions ahead or the people around you. You've tried to explain it away, but the feeling lingers. This is the moment to pause and look inward. This is when the voice from the other side speaks the clearest, not with loud warnings, but with sacred reminders that you were made for more than stress, more than fear, more than trying to please a world that changes its mind every day. Your loved one is urging you now to take notice of what you've been ignoring. Maybe it's your health, your peace, your boundaries, or your relationship with God. Maybe it's a certain path that's pulling you away from who you are at your core. They know you. They know the purity of your heart, the weight of your thoughts, and the fire in your spirit. And from their place in heaven, they're trying to guide you away from the things that will steal from you and back to the things that will fill you up again. God allows this because love never dies. It only transforms. And your connection with your loved one has not ended, it has changed, grown deeper, become more sacred. While they can't hold your hand like they used to, they can hold your heart. And right now, they are reaching across the divide to wrap it in the gentlest of truths: you are not broken beyond repair. You are not forgotten. You are not facing this alone. Sometimes healing starts with honesty. Maybe you haven't let yourself cry in a long time. Maybe you've been holding everything inside, afraid that falling apart means weakness. But your loved one wants you to know that there is strength in softness, and that God meets you in the quiet corners of your pain with more compassion than you can imagine. They want you to know that your healing matters, not just to you, but to them. Because they want to see you whole again. They want to see you smile and truly mean it, to laugh and not feel guilty, to wake up and feel peace instead of dread. This warning they bring, it's wrapped in love. They're not here to scare you. They're here to remind you that not all that glitters is good, and not every path is meant to be walked. They want you to step away from what drains you, from what pulls you into confusion, from what slowly chips away at your faith. They see the traps and the spiritual weariness, and they're whispering now, come back to what's real. Come back to the presence of God, where nothing is rushed, nothing is forced, and everything is rooted in peace. Type 2323 if you agree. There may be people around you who don't understand what you're going through. They may not see the weight you carry or the depth of the ache you feel. But your loved one does. And God does. And together, they are standing in the gap for you, praying, guiding, comforting. This isn't your end. It's a turning point. And as hard as it might be to believe, something beautiful is waiting on the other side of this pain. You're being asked to release what no longer fits, to trust what you feel deep within, and to move with intention. You're being asked to let God take the pieces of your life and reshape them, not because everything is broken, but because something better is possible. And your loved one is gently urging you to let that happen, to not hold so tightly to the past that you miss the miracles waiting in your future. Even when it's hard, even when it hurts, you are being wrapped in a love that holds no conditions. You are being drawn toward healing that doesn't require you to be perfect, just willing. You are being reminded that your story is not finished, and the voice calling your name is not echoing from emptiness, but from eternity. A soul that once stood beside you still walks with you, not in the ways you remember, but in ways that are eternal. Type 333 if you believe God is speaking to you. They know. They know what you're carrying, even the things you've never said out loud. They know the pressure you feel to be strong, to keep going, to not fall apart. They know the fears that creep in late at night when your guard is down. They see the loneliness, even when you're surrounded by others. But more than anything, they want you to know this: you are not alone, and you never have been. From the moment their soul stepped into eternity, God allowed them a new kind of closeness, one that doesn't depend on presence or distance but on love. A love that has now been made complete, freed from all pain, fear, or confusion. And with that love, they have watched over you, prayed for you, and spoken softly to your soul in the moments you were ready to hear. Not everyone understands this kind of connection, and that's okay. But you do. You feel it, even when you try to reason it away. Maybe there have been moments lately when you felt a strong urge to change something. To walk away from something that no longer feels right, or to finally say yes to something you've been delaying. Maybe there's been a quiet nudge in your spirit to slow down, to seek God again, to turn inward and remember who you really are when the world isn't demanding something from you. That nudge is sacred. That feeling is holy. And more often than not, it's being carried to you by the one who loved you then and loves you still, your person, your family, your friend, your soul connection, now held gently in God's eternal arms. They're trying to tell you something important. Not because they know all things now, but because they've seen what really matters. They see clearly what we still struggle to understand. They know what paths lead to peace and which ones lead to pain. And with all the love they ever had for you, they are trying to reach your heart now to keep you from wandering into places that will only steal your joy or blur your sense of direction. A hidden 9-word prayer rediscovered in a sealed government document is now changing everything for those who dare to use it. It activates your brain's forgotten abundance channel, helping you manifest prosperity in ways you've never seen before. The results: cleared debts, growing savings, sudden opportunities, speak for themselves. Don't wait until this vanishes. Click the link before it's erased from the internet. There may be something coming into your life, or already present, that carries a weight you're not meant to bear. It might look innocent or even exciting at first, but deep inside, you've been sensing a tension, a hesitation, a soft warning that says, "This isn't for you." That warning is not fear. It's love. It's the voice of someone who now sees things with heaven's eyes, trying to protect you before you feel the ache of regret. Sometimes the most loving thing our departed can do is help us stop before we fall. Their voice doesn't come in dramatic ways. It often comes in stillness, in the gentle dread you feel before making a decision, or the sudden relief you feel when you walk away from something. Pay attention to these moments. They are more than instincts. They are answers to prayers you haven't even spoken yet. Your loved one isn't here to judge you, or to control you, or to make you live a certain way. Their soul is now part of a greater love, a holy peace, and what they bring to you is comfort, clarity, and the deep desire that you live in the light, not the shadows. They want you to thrive, not just survive. They want to see you standing tall, even if life has knocked you down more than once. They want you to remember who you are when you feel like you've forgotten. You are a child of God. You are a soul wrapped in purpose. You were never meant to do this life alone. The road ahead may still be uncertain, but you are being led step by a love that refuses to let you fall. You may not see every detail of the path right now, but you are being given what you need to keep walking: strength, courage, wisdom, and divine protection. Type 888 if you feel surrounded by God's angels. Your loved one's warning is not just about danger. It's also about preparation. It's about making space for something new, something beautiful that God is preparing for you. But to receive what's coming, you may need to let go of what's weighing you down. That could be a fear, a habit, a connection, or even a lie you've been telling yourself about your worth. They want you to know the truth: you are worthy of peace. You are worthy of healing. You are worthy of joy. You are worthy of a new chapter, even if you're still grieving the last one. God uses love to guide us, to warn us, to rescue us when we've wandered too far from peace. And sometimes, that love comes through the heart of someone who is no longer here in body, but closer than ever in spirit. That's what this message is. That's what you're feeling now. It's not fear. It's not pressure. It's a holy reminder from someone who loves you deeply and forever. Take a moment now, just to breathe, to close your eyes and feel the quiet nearness of that presence. It may not be dramatic. It may be as soft as the wind or the warmth of light on your face. But it's real. And it's meant for you. Let it in. Let it remind you of everything you still carry inside: hope, love, strength, and the courage to keep going. Because you're not doing this alone. Type 1010 to claim peace over your life. Your loved one, now resting fully in the light of God's love, sees you with clarity that no earthly eyes could ever offer. They see the path you're walking, and the burdens you try so hard to carry with grace. They see the decisions that weigh heavily on your heart, the quiet moments of doubt you don't dare share with anyone else, and the faith you cling to even when the road ahead is foggy. They see the goodness inside you that remains untouched by loss, the strength you may not recognize in yourself, and the courage that keeps you moving forward, even when you feel like standing still. They are speaking now, not in sounds, but in a holy echo that reaches you when you are still enough to feel it. And their message comes from a place that's filled with mercy, not fear. They come to warn you, yes, but not in dread. Their warning is rooted in love, in clarity, in the overwhelming desire to help you avoid the heartache they can now see from the other side. They see what's around you, some of it visible, some of it hidden. They know what is draining you, what is slowly dimming your light, what is subtly shifting your heart away from peace. And they are here, quietly but insistently, calling you to notice it too. This is not about regret. It's about redirection. It's about the way God uses the ones we've lost to guide us lovingly back toward the life He wants for us, a life where your spirit is not at war with itself, a life where your days are not ruled by fear or confusion, a life where you can rest in who you are, even when the world demands more than you can give. The one who loves you from beyond the veil wants this for you. They want to see you whole again, not weighed down by past wounds or distracted by paths that don't carry God's peace. Maybe lately you've been feeling like something isn't right. Like a part of you is resisting a situation or decision, even if everything on the outside looks fine. Maybe you've been overwhelmed by a heaviness that seems to have no name, a feeling that you're out of alignment with something deep and sacred inside yourself. That feeling matters. It is not weakness. It is not paranoia. It is spiritual sensitivity. And more than that, it is love reaching for you, love that once sat across the table from you, laughed with you, cried with you, and now watches over you with a heart made whole in God's presence. What if everything you've been chasing, wealth, freedom, success, could be drawn to you automatically, simply by unlocking a secret brain wave hidden inside you? Once classified by intelligence agencies, this discovery is now available to the public, and it's changing lives instantly. Picture yourself debt-free, stress-free, and thriving. The window is open, but not forever, and every second you wait is wealth slipping from your hands, so grasp it now. Click the link in video description and comments below to awaken this money magnet frequency and watch abundance flow into your life today. This love has not ended. It has transformed. And it is powerful enough to cross the distance between heaven and earth just to bring you a message: slow down. Listen. Reconnect. There is something around you right now that needs to be seen for what it truly is. There is something being whispered into your soul, not to create fear, but to create awareness, to draw you back to the stillness where God can speak clearly again. And your loved one is part of that holy whisper. Type 444 if you're ready to walk in truth and healing. You were never meant to figure everything out alone. That's why God surrounds you with reminders, with gentle signs, with people and messages and even dreams that carry His truth wrapped in love. Your loved one may appear in your thoughts more often now, not by coincidence, but because your heart is open to receive their message. They are trying to reach you in the way heaven allows, through warmth, through subtle nudges, through the kind of presence that calms the heart without needing to speak. They know you're tired. They know you're holding things together the best way you know how. And they want you to know that it's okay to let go of what's breaking your peace. It's okay to step away from what isn't growing you. It's okay to choose a softer, truer path. Not everything that is offered to you is meant for you. Not every opportunity is a blessing. Not every person is carrying light. And that's where your discernment matters, your deep knowing, your connection to God, your willingness to trust the peace or unease in your spirit. Your loved one sees it now, the importance of peace, of simplicity, of truth. And they want to spare you the pain that can come when we ignore those inner alarms and move forward out of fear or pressure. They aren't angry. They aren't disappointed. They are simply here to guide, to whisper, to protect. Because that's what love does. Even when separated by life and death, love still chooses to stay. It still chooses to speak. It still chooses to carry light into dark places. Let yourself be still for a moment. Breathe in deeply and feel the weight lift, even if only a little. That relief, that softening in your chest, is real. It's your soul recognizing that you are not abandoned. That something holy is near. That someone who loves you beyond this life has not forgotten you. That heaven is fighting for your peace, even now. This message will reach the parts of your heart that needed to hear these words. Not because they are magic, but because they are truth. Because they are soaked in the kind of love that heals, God's love, flowing through the memory and presence of someone who once held you close and still holds you from afar. Type 999 if you feel the presence of something greater guiding you. They're trying to tell you something, not in words, but in spirit. Their voice is not carried on wind or sound, but through the moments that pause your heart, through the feelings that seem to come out of nowhere, through the sense that someone is near, even when you cannot see them. Those aren't just memories. They're reminders. They're traces of a bond that was never broken. Death doesn't end love. It purifies it, strengthens it, and anchors it in the eternal arms of God. Your loved one is watching, not as a ghost or shadow, but as a soul illuminated by grace, hoping you will hear them in your quietest moments. They see what's unfolding in your life right now, the choices you're facing, the things that weigh heavy on your mind even when you pretend they don't. They know there's something troubling your heart, a path that looks good on the outside but doesn't feel right deep down. They aren't here to decide for you, but they are calling your spirit back to what's true, what's safe, what's rooted in peace. Sometimes we try to force peace where it doesn't belong. We try to convince ourselves that something will get better, that if we stay a little longer, wait a little more, it might finally feel right. But peace never hides. It doesn't demand that you beg for it. Peace is quiet, but it's clear. And when it's missing, your soul notices. That's what your loved one sees now. They want you to stop overlooking what your heart already knows. They want you to listen to that discomfort you've been trying to silence. It's there for a reason. And it's part of their message to you. Amen.